Yo, what's going on, degenerate dogs? Welcome back to UDL Season 3 Coach Interviews. I'm Raz, like always, and like always, again, I'm joined by my handsome and brilliant co-host, Toby, aka the Tobster. Today
It's
we're
me.
today we're joined by the man himself, PR Pog King, Guardian of Light. Guardian, what's up, dude?
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
PR
We're
Pog. Okay.
PR Pog.
Hell yeah.
We're here, we're chilling here for another interview. You guys already know how it goes. We come in here, we ask some questions you've heard before because we want the answers, and then we ask some stuff that comes along as we go. We're here to have a good time, but more importantly, we're here to get in his head, figure out what's going on up
Oh,
there.
that's a dangerous place.
So yeah, welcome to the channel, welcome to the interview. How's it going?
It's going good. It's good to be here, man.
Good.
All right.
Happy to have.
Well, Guardian, I think the first thing we want to know is your draft process, essentially. What going into this, did you have a plan starting out? And if you did, how did it change, or how did you adapt to your draft process?
I didn't have a full plan in place. I knew that I wanted Indeedee Slurpuff. Cavs used it against me in WPL, and I was like, huh, that actually looks like a lot of fun. I want to mess with it. And sure enough, I got like Indeedee round one. My original draft plan was a little greedy because I had Indeedee Slurpuff, I had Umbreon on that plan, I had Marowak on that plan. And so I was definitely having to change on the fly quite a bit. And by the time I got to the end of my like set list, which I'd finished after like round 2 or 3 of the draft, I had 4 spots missing. That's how many times I got sniped. And I'm like, okay. All right.
All right.
Is that a sneeze, Raz?
Yeah. No, he's
Yeah,
just
I'm muted.
cringing at how many times you got sniped.
I was like,
Yeah,
I was like, it's either a sneeze or it's a dab. I don't know which one.
I would never dab on main.
But yeah, it was like Zazo got the Umbreon round 1, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's gonna suck. I really wanted that. So it was a scramble to try to figure out stuff on the tier list that I wanted instead.
Yeah. Pause for just a second. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Okay. You go ahead and continue. We'll keep going while he's...
okay. I saw some interesting things on the tier list, so I was like, okay. There were some things that were placed really well, and I was like, oh, that's value. And then there's some things that were very much overpriced. I'm like, why is that here?
Yeah.
So I think I managed to find a good balance of both.
Yeah. I think you did a pretty good job of, at the very least, scoping out the value of the tiers and taking them to your advantage. I think most people did a pretty good job about that this season, because there were some odd tier placements, especially for non-max.
Yeah, there's definitely a few things I'm like, why is this? Well, first off, Cresselia, like, why is it legal?
Yeah.
And because of that, Senna Scorch King scares the hell out of me. But
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there was a couple things I'm like, okay, I can see this, and there's some I was like, that you either don't believe in the power or you believe it too much.
Yeah.
There were very few things that were in between.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. Cresselia should not have been legal, and we already had Charles on. Look,
It's not
Charles,
that good.
Charles said the same thing. He doesn't know why they allowed it. But
Yeah, well, guess what? Even the smartest people in the world are wrong sometimes.
All right. Fair enough.
Broken clock is right twice a day.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
All right. Well, then, after that little bit about your draft process, if you wouldn't mind giving us a little bit of insight to your team for the uninitiated, like what you look at with this team, what looks good here, what you essentially built, what you're hoping to do with it. Obviously, don't spoil any of your super secret techs or anything like that.
Like,
but
I feel like there's not a lot of super secret. Like, it's a lot of my stuff is pretty straightforward. Like, I drafted some very popular mons. People know what they do.
Yeah.
And there's, so like, looking right off the bat, usually look. I had to pull my thing up real quick so I could see my team.
You're good. Yeah.
Indeed, Slurpuff. Rolo said it in the PR video, like he took it straight to finals. I've
Mhm.
seen the power of this team, and I feel like I grabbed one of the better answers for it, like as well. Like
Okay.
He trained as a wonderful answer to stop the Slurpuff.
Mhm.
So the fact that I have it and they don't makes it even better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very few things scare me when it comes to that mode. One of the ones that do though is Hydreigon scares me and Umbreon scares me. Just for
Fair enough.
just for that lead.
Yeah.
But luckily, I do have a couple things that answer that in the back.
Mhm.
So Raikou
Mm.
is just a good mon overall. Fletchinder, it's not going to live very long, but it lives long enough to get Tailwind up. That's what matters to me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a suicide lead. It does what it's supposed to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hitmonchan, Inner Focus Fake Out is, I mean, Inner Focus anything is pretty solid.
Yeah, I think so.
So the fact that I've got 2 Inner Focus wands is definitely good.
Yeah.
I do want to touch a little bit on the Octillery.
Yeah,
What was going on with the Octillery?
I knew this was coming. So Octillery was recommended to me by somebody. Water type is not the worst thing to double up on, and the amount of coverage that Octillery gets is really good. I do not trust Moody whatsoever. I will not be running it.
Don't run
It every time I
Definitely
see,
don't.
like I started getting into Pokemon with the randomized Nuzlocke, things like that. That's how I got into like the scene of like, okay, and now I'm putting out Pokemon content. And randomized Moody, it's a thing. It's not always a good thing. It hurt, especially when you
No.
especially in cage locks where you're bringing it and you're expecting it to help you. It never does.
Yeah. Yeah.
So still, regardless, Octillery it gets some very decent moves. Octazooka is a wonderful stab option. It gets it gets Energy Ball. It gets a whole bunch of different moves that it just okay. Why does this have this? But also, I'm thankful it does.
Yeah.
And people have warned me about it anyway, and I'm like, well, as long as I'm not relying on Moody, I should be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because even Rolo says like the only reason I don't like it is because Moody failed me. I'm like,
Well, yeah.
don't rely on RNG. It's not your friend.
Exactly. Unless you're Wolf.
Unless you're Wolf.
RNG is Wolf's friend and no one else's.
Is it really?
RNG is Wolf's
That's-
brand, is
that's
what I would
like
rather
his
say. He didn't get the nickname Parahex Wolf for nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that nickname. Well, I guess he's gonna need it with all his evolutions.
That's wrong team, but still.
Oh, is he? Wait, is
Ed is the Evolutions team. Wolf is.
I'm
Pseudo
still
rain
learning people.
with like Gorgeist and
Yeah, he's got a pseudo rain team with. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it definitely RNG definitely helped Rain.
He could hex it. Yeah.
But yeah, I've used Octillery before, and I'm definitely on your team about it. Like the number of the number of water types that get fire coverage, very slim. So that's really nice.
I think it numbers like 4 or 5 mons.
Yeah,
in the entirety of 900 something Pokemon that exist.
Yeah, and considering water type is, as far as I know, the most populated type, it's impressive. So that's really nice. I think it's good.
I think it beats out normal type by like 6 mons.
Yeah,
something like
like it's close, but water type is, and a lot. We technically have Gen 3 to thank for that.
True.
Yeah,
Gen 3 introduced like how many new water species did it introduce? Like 20.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
100 mon decks.
Oh, something like that.
Yeah, but it's like I'm looking at that. I don't think that Octillery is a weak link on my team.
I don't think so either.
There are definitely a couple weak links on my team, and I might be looking at some transactions to fix my special bias.
Yeah,
but because like even for those who have seen the PR video, like Rolo and I both comment, I do have very much a special bias.
Yeah,
and it's not game ending, but it does make it harder to play through things like Light Screen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And with Assault Vest being like an item that anybody can run, it's definitely something to consider.
Well, luckily, like 6 of my Pokemon get knockoff, if I remember properly.
True. Yeah.
That's also good. Yeah. That'll work.
Um,
Well, speaking of transactions and things like that, we'll move into. I believe you ranked number 3 in the power rankings for non-max. Am I correct?
that's correct.
All right. So, um, with that ranking, do you think? I mean, obviously, you're the one who made the power rankings. So, do you think your ranking for number 3 is correct? Do you think it's off? And do you think you can climb up the power rankings by making any transactions or anything like that?
I don't think I can get any higher.
Okay.
Um,
The top two
I
teams
think
are really strong.
I don't think I
Yeah.
necessarily deserved the number 3 spot. I think that I believe it was Theo. No, it was Krabby right behind me.
Hmm.
I think that Krabby had an amazing team, and there's a lot of teams that if they make one transaction, they shoot up.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of teams that I was like, I love what I'm seeing here, except for the black sheep right here.
Right.
And so I don't know that I'll keep number 3. I think that because of how close it was, I just barely squeezed by. Sazo and I right now are pretty neck and neck with our power rankings.
Yeah.
Like our teams are both very good. Playing against him is a whole other story. He's the GOAT for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, with that being said, just
He'd be talking shit on himself all the time.
Sasso,
Anyway.
shut up.
bro, not anybody could just sit there and make Blossom good.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I think that there's one or two transactions I can make. I've got to look at the tier lists again. That might help me in the long run.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm pretty happy with my team. I'm gonna play it out for a couple weeks, see how I'm looking. What I have a couple ideas of what modes work well together, what might be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All it's gonna decide is what do my matchups look like and how is my team performing? Is it doing what I want it to, or am I falling short?
Right.
Makes sense to me.
So, speaking of those PRs, you talked about how like there are a lot of teams that will get a lot better with like one transaction, and there's a lot of really close contenders for various different spots, with the exception of like the extremes, right? So like the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. Do you think that there's a chance that like when Dan or Toxic or anybody else who makes PRs, do you think there's a good chance that when those come out, they look super different than yours?
I don't think it's gonna look a lot different. So 4 through 8, no, sorry, yeah, 4 or 5 through like 8 or 9, they're all super close to each other, and they could probably be interchanged. It was just of Rolo and my opinion of how they ended up.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that the extreme lows are going to stay that way unless they make a lot of transactions. If we do like power rankings like halfway through the season, looking at how teams have changed, things like that, I think that the list is going to probably be a lot different.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But as far as people making them before the start of the season, I think that they're going to stay pretty similar. A couple people might shift 1 or 2 spots, but I don't think there's going to be anything drastic.
Right. Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
Makes sense to me.
it's like Rolo could probably tell you I was very critical on my own team.
Hmm.
I'm not sitting there like, oh, I've got the best team, whatever. No, I drafted what I wanted. I drafted mons I liked,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and sometimes that works out great. Sometimes that can bite you in the butt, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
Totally.
For sure. Um. Well, I guess next thing I would want to ask is because these teams are so close together and so really anybody could overtake anybody right now. Is there any team in particular that stands out to you as one that you think you're super excited to be facing in battle, or any that you're dreading, or anything like that?
I'm dreading Santa Sports Gang.
Okay, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
that team, we touched on it a little bit. That team just had a lot of out of the box offensive pressure,
Mhm.
and the fact that he has ways to enable them further. He's got like 6 Pokemon that could sweep my entire 11,
Yeah, he
Mhm.
does.
and that's not that's not to say that anyone else drafted bad. It's just like including myself. I think that I drafted decent.
Mhm.
There's a lot on that team that breaks a lot of my strategies. There's a lot that can overtake any setup that I do. I think that if both of us had one turn to set up, his gets more mileage than mine does.
Yeah,
And I'm going to have to really think out of the box to try to figure out how to beat that. or just hope that I'm like cracked RNG god one of these weeks.
Right. Yeah.
I will definitely be praying to RNG Jesus.
Hmm.
Burn Hacks Guardian. That's what we'll call him.
Or-
Burn Hacks Guardian.
um, other than that, I don't get to play Salzo this season
Yeah.
unless I see him in playoffs. There's Krabby's team was fun to look at. I think that's going to be a fun team to play against. The only reason his was ranked below mine is that his needed a lot of setup, and setup can be easy to stop if you know
Yeah.
what's like absolutely crucial to get off.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that match.
Hmm.
And another match I'm looking forward to is against Ruby T. So Sussex Sableyes.
Yeah.
They rank number 5 overall. We ended up talking about draft quite a bit because I accidentally took like 3 mons that she wanted. I stepped on a lot of toes this draft, not even trying to.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't say anything to that other than like, oops.
Right. People did it to you, so I mean,
I mean, so separate people did it to me. It was done to me by 3 separate people.
Hmm.
yeah.
I hit 3 separate people on my own.
Oh shit. Okay.
And because there was a couple mons that like I know that Ruby T was looking forward to Raikou, and I sniped it right before she was about to grab it. Or sorry, he. But so I sniped that. No, I think somebody was mentioning Alone Executor. I don't remember. I know Hitmonchan somebody was looking at, but I was like, you have to grab that early. That's a tier 4. That is the best tier 4 in this format.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I know that somebody wanted Heatran, and I took that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, I definitely stepped on a lot of toes.
Well, with stepping on a lot of toes, you might have a target on your back.
I think I further put a target on my back with the PRs.
Maybe you did. I think maybe you did. We had a Raspberry who would attest.
I was not. I don't think I was overly critical with my PRs.
No.
But I'm definitely a very blunt person. And that does not lend well when you're criticizing people.
I think PRs can be a tricky thing based on the audience, but it's like you can look at it one of two ways, right? Like you made PRs, you gave your thoughts, you weren't just like this team sucks, next, your team's trash, next. Like you were giving reasons and stuff. And with that kind of reasoning and analysis, like sure you can sit there and be like, "Oh, I'm so mad my team got ranked so low." Or you can say, "Okay, these are the things that this person says about my team. Objectively, are they right? The answer is usually yes. And what can I do in terms of transactions to make this team better?" So, like, while there might be people who are like, "I'm so mad at him for putting my team where it is," I think most people are more like, "Okay, thanks for the criticism. Now I can improve my roster."
For real.
Yeah.
At least you didn't like look somebody dead in the eye and go, "Mammo swine."
Next team.
No, it was like I tried to be very fair. Ro and I both tried to explain our reasonings for what we saw and what we said. And I still stand by what I said at the end. If you think your team is the hottest shit since sliced bread, cool.
Show us.
I didn't seem prove it. Because I didn't seem to neither Rolo or I seem to think so. And there might be a reason for that. Like I know I'm still relatively new to the draft, but I do like to think I kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then when you've got Papa Rolo right there, he definitely knows what he's talking about, and he's saying the same stuff. It's okay. This isn't just the new guy is talking shit. No, this is I legitimately want to see these teams get better because I want good matches every week. I don't want anything to be a blowout.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those kind of wins and losses aren't fun.
Yeah. So you mentioned a second ago about being relatively new to draft. I learned like 10 minutes ago that you just got into the draft scene like less than 6 months ago, which is insane to me. Um, so just like what has your experience been in terms of like getting into it and learning and improving pretty quickly, apparently. And just like how's all that been so far for you?
Uh, it's been pretty good. I luckily a lot of people were very supportive and were willing to teach me. Because there's a lot of things I was doing wrong, and I when I my first experience with like VGC doubles was well, other than I did a doubles Little Cup tournament for a server I was in,
Hmm.
and I managed to play semifinals in that, even having never played doubles.
Yeah.
Um, it was somebody reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you want to learn how to play draft?" They needed players for WPL, and I said, "Sure." They put on a couple clinics for the new guys, and every week I was constantly reaching out to players that I knew were better than me, and like they had results to show they were good. And I was constantly working with the upper division to try to learn and try to get better, and it showed
Hmm.
very quick. And I think that I showed very quickly. Okay, I'm able to learn. I'm able to adapt. I'm not I'm not amazing. You'll never hear me say that like, oh, I'm super hot shit. You can't beat me. No, anybody can beat anybody, especially one of these super secret techs pop off.
Hmm.
Um, I got very lucky with the first draft league I started in. Had a community that was very much willing to teach and learn, and I was willing to learn. I took
Hmm.
every opportunity I could so that I could make a good showing. And my first season, I ranked number two overall in the regular season.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that's a that's a heck of an accomplishment, and I'm very very proud of it.
As you should be.
Hmm.
Playoffs is a big accomplishment, especially for just starting out.
Yeah, and even though yeah it's a lower division, I don't think I had an easy season. I played against a
No.
lot of guys that had just barely been passed over for the upper division, so I wasn't just playing new guys.
Yeah. Well, speaking of playoffs, do you think playoffs is in the cards for you this season? Do you think you can make it?
I don't know. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of good teams. It's
Yeah,
gonna. I don't know how a lot of this division is as players. I don't know how good they are player wise. You can draft amazing and play poorly.
for sure.
That's
Been
that can
there.
happen, and I've seen
Yup.
it.
Hmm.
So it's I don't. I'm not gonna come in thinking, oh yeah, I'm definitely guaranteed a spot in playoffs because I'm number three. No, if I have a bad week or somebody has an amazing week, I could very well be middle of the pack.
Oh yeah,
I don't think I'm going to be bottom of the pack, but I'm not guaranteeing that I'm making playoffs.
that is a very well thought out answer. Thank you for that. That is probably the best playoffs answer we've had actually in all of our interviews. Um,
Well,
and
it doesn't pay to be cocky.
it,
That's true.
hey,
There's a difference between confidence and arrogance, and
I
I used to tread that line, and it would bite me in the butt.
absolutely
Mhm.
for sure. Well then, I guess last thing we need to know because you pretty much knocked it out of the park here, Guardian. Last thing we want to know is where can we find you? Where can the lovely people find you? YouTube, Twitch, all that stuff.
So my Twitch is GuardianOfL1ght. It's I got locked out of my original Twitch, so I had to make something new. It plays off an old Yu-Gi-Oh archetype name.
Yeah,
Um, Guardian of Light on YouTube. It's we've talked about the PR video so much, we might want to just put that in the description.
we will.
Yeah, for sure.
um, but you can find my channel there. Twitter's Guardian of Light. Um, I try to stream probably once or twice a week, and I'm putting out videos of the different leagues I'm in, even though I'm way behind. Um, so I'll be happy to see everybody stop by. If y'all stop
Yeah,
by one of my videos or my streams, let me know. Let me know where you found me.
Hell yeah.
cool. All right.
Yeah. Well, like you said, all that stuff will be down in the description. Clearly some very good content over there. Make sure you check out his Twitch. Make sure you check out the YouTube, follow on Twitter. Again, that'll be down in the description. Click on those. But that's gonna be it from us. over here on Draft Degenerates for this interview. Guardian, thanks so much for stopping by. It's been great having you.
It's been a pleasure being here, man.
Hell yeah. Um, so yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time with who knows who. But
Somebody.
we've got more interviews lined up. They're coming. It'll be out. Keep an eye on it. Thanks again
Hell
so much
yeah.
for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out, fellas.